Hello, Inner Wisdom Society. Today we are going to do a tarot card reading on the coronavirus for September. If this is the types of videos you like to see, please comment with your zodiac sun sign energy below. See what kind of energies are attracted to this video. Like and subscribe. And then if you are interested in these types of things and are interested in checking out the Inner Wisdom Society, we've got a huge deal going on right now. If you join our community of like-minded people working on our mindfulness for $20 a month, you will receive a free 10-page astrology chart and report, 35-page numerology report, and a tarot card reading with me, as well as getting into the community. So check out the link in the description below to check that out, and everyone who joins will be, as long as the offer still stands. If the link works and the offer stands, because I'll be bombarded with too many reports and readings, but make sure you rush and do that if you're interested in this. But let's get started on our tarot card reading for today. So for today I did a 4-card reading for the coronavirus tarot in the areas where we are. And so the first card here, so this is the Five of Swords. So the Five of Swords, this is classically the winning the battle but losing the war card, which is kind of what it feels like that's going on, which we're fighting lots of mini battles, whether that's over policies, masks, no masks, shutdowns, partial shutdowns, whatever the case may be. It seems we are fighting everything and everybody other than directly the coronavirus, or what the best way to do it. So we are having all these little battles over whether or not schools will open, businesses will open, how much access we have, what are the regulations in anywhere, what kind of freedoms we can have, whatever things people want to argue about. Everything other than we are fighting or winning some of those battles, but in the long-term war we are kind of losing that against the coronavirus because it's still going on and still poses a threat, which we'll talk about later in here, and some of the themes that are going on. But it really looks like what it means for winning these battles but losing the war is, we're going to have to rely on eventually getting a vaccine or something like that, which hopefully comes relatively soon, because some of the other measures we've done so far to date has not been effective, which is, mask policies have not been effective. It's slowing it down completely to a point where it's no longer a concern. Business shutdowns have not worked, so we are kind of in this repeating cycle here where we are constantly going around and constantly winning these small battles, but the long-term war is still ahead of us. And that's me. That's honestly, I did a video, if you want to check some other ones out, a week or so ago. That's what it feels like for myself as well. I was definitely emotionally prepared for a longer duration of several months of this type of stuff, but now that we're getting into 6 months of this right now, and maybe potentially, depending on when the real vaccine can be broadly distributed, we may have another 6 months of this going on. So we're kind of almost in the halfway point, which I was not emotionally prepared for. So I think that a lot of people are having a difficult time. That's why you can see some of the clouds back here, which is all the information isn't available to us. And 5 basically means we need to change the way we're thinking or communicating. Because if we kind of keep doing what we're doing, we're just going to end up getting the same results. So we have to have a change in strategy. We're thinking, just admit that it's we're going to be in it for the long haul, and we're going to have to fight through or prepare for this to last longer, or whatever emergency savings for those who may be out of work or stuff like that. We'll have to kind of stretch that as long as they can. The next card here, so this is the Three of Wands. So wands deal with your fire signs, your energy and so forth. So being the Three of Wands would say is, 2 is saying you have a choice to make. We've had many choices that we've each had to make personally or as a community or a society. What the Three of Wands has said is, we've kind of made our choice, and now we just kind of have to, this is waiting for ships to come in. We just have to see what the ramifications of our choices are, which is broadly, we cannot agree on any one universal strategy or approach, and so therefore we are kind of in our own camps here, where it's going to be those who believe in more conspiracies or are downplaying the virus that from changing their opinions, and it's going to be difficult for those who are taking it very seriously and being very cautious and taking a very conservative approach to change their opinions. So that's why we're kind of stuck where we are. Everyone's kind of made their choices, and then the die has been cast, and now we have to see what the ramifications are of the choices that we made. That's the waiting for our ships to come in. This is kind of like the moment of waiting to see what kind of karma you get from the choices you have made. And so, 3 energy is creation or new. So we'll just have to see what the new world that comes out from the choices we made. We hope eventually there's a vaccine and things kind of get back to quote unquote normal. But in a lot of cases, there will never be back to the original normal. There'll be some things that may not come back. There are already businesses who are building new buildings or offices that have decided they're going to do more remote work, whether that's positive or negative for you or the type of businesses you may want to be in. It sounds like the acceleration to more remote working is going to be accelerated, and whatever that means for businesses or communities, that's just something that's going to be here that we'll have to work with. And then all the other things that we were doing about like how people feel about whether we're going to go into more germophobic natures or so forth, that we'll have to figure out, or more delivery type stuff, or those kind of things are going to be more popular. We'll just have to wait and see how that does. But we are basically at a point where you can't turn the big ship around at this point, and we just kind of got to see where we're going to hit the dock and find out what the results are going to kind of be. And that kind of goes into the next 2 cards, which are the major arcana cards for this one. So if you haven't seen any of my other videos, you can check those out. But if you're not as familiar with tarot, but the minor arcana cards kind of deal with things that go on here on the earthly plane, whereas the major arcana bring in some more important messages from your spirit guides, guardian angels, whatever you choose to believe in. And these messages kind of carry a little bit more weight because they're intended to keep you here on your designed spiritual path, or the purpose that you thought you were going to have as you came into this life. And the first one we have here, so this is the Wheel of Fortune. So a lot of people see this as just like Wheel of Fortune as being like destiny or random luck, but what it really says is that I see it as a more if you've seen any of my series of videos, which I highly recommend, on the Secret of Life, which kind of goes towards the mindful community, the Inner Wisdom Society, but you kind of have these ups and downs where kind of the wheel, you keep going up and down and up and down and back and forth. Things that we associate with positive or negative, which isn't necessarily true, but things that can be associated with ups and downs and swings and so forth. That's kind of what the Wheel of Fortune is saying, is for anyone's given destiny, it's not going to be all high points and highlights like we like to show on social media. You're going to have big swings up or down. In this case situation, looking at things that are going on with the coronavirus, there's going to be really kind of your fortune or destiny is if you've been taking precautions and preparing and have been healthy so far, then maybe you can keep that up and keep that going. If you've been taking more risky behaviors or just have bad luck, or where areas of the country you've been in or the world you've been in that are higher risk, maybe you have caught it or know someone that's caught it and had to face the consequences of dealing with a very difficult virus and some of the potential complications that can kind of come with that. So that's kind of what the Wheel of Fortune says, is more of a just this association with destiny. We're always thinking like destiny always means there's like a fatalism, like there's one endpoint or one output that we're going to have, and that's not necessarily true. I view it as more of what it really means is this kind of ups and down. Like life is going to, as you go on your life purpose, there's always going to be these swings and up and down, and it can all be connected to part of your destiny with it. So you just have to kind of ride it out both ways. And unlike social media, where we only try to show the positive, that the life's never going to bring you just that. There's always going to be this yugen, or this valley aspect, which is where true wisdom and growth comes from through some possible times of hardships, which this could be for many of you watching this. And I've got videos on that and some of the yugens. And again, we cover that in the Inner Wisdom Society community. But that's kind of the main message of this one, which is, based on the choices that, basically based on we're picking the fights that we're picking, which may not be helping us conquer or defeat the long-term war with the virus. And everyone's made their own choices as to how much freedom versus economic pain they can handle to try to get this under control. The die has been kind of cast, and therefore the Wheel of Fortune kind of says, well, we're going to suffer the consequences, positive or negative, whatever that might be, based on this. And then I guess the positive note, or the good note for the end of this reading, is the last card here. So this is the Sun. So the Sun ends up saying this is where you want to be seen. You want to be seen in the spotlight, where all things kind of come out. So this does say based on this kind of rest connections here and kind of what we've been discussing, that the positive news is, despite all the choices we've been making and the battles we've been fighting, that one debate could be, will there ever be a vaccine? Will these things work? Well, I am interpreting the sun, and this one is saying yes. Well, I think there will be a vaccine, and we will be able to kind of go back to a, I don't want to say normal, but a new normal, or wherever things might be. Some things may not go back to normal completely, as we've talked about the acceleration of technology, remote learning, especially in the education and workspace. But as far as, yes, we will achieve our goals of kind of having things get back to how we want to be seen, being able to get outside, being more social, seeing people, those types of things as well. So I think that's the positive, is it's not coming here immediately, but in the long run we are going to accomplish our goal. And for all of us who have the desires to reconnect with people or have more social lives, or if you've lost your businesses or your jobs, to have the opportunity to start working in your industry or field again, I think that is going to come in the long term. But we do have to put up, or suffer through whatever the consequences of the choices that we've made. And it's almost like too late for people to change their mind on these types of things. So that's kind of the main message we have for today on coronavirus near you for September. And again, if you are interested in joining the Inner Wisdom Society Mindful Community and get some of the perks such as free astrology, numerology reports, and tarot card readings, make sure you check out the link in the description. As long as it's still available and ready to go, then the offer still stands. But then at some point I may need to remove it, or if I get too bogged down with too many of these as well. All right, thanks.